After the age of 65, the body becomes unpredictable. What once felt like simple fatigue might now be a sign of something far more dangerous. Especially your heart, the one organ that never rests, begins to weaken silently. It doesn't scream for help. It whispers. And most people never listen. Until it's too late. Today, we're going to reveal 5 warning signs your heart may already be struggling. These are not just symptoms. They are potential death sentences if ignored. And the second one? Almost everyone overlooks it, until they collapse in front of their family or alone in a cold hospital bed. Don't let that be your story. 1. Unusual fatigue. The silent thief of life. It starts quietly. You wake up one morning and feel heavier than usual. You think, I must not have slept well. The next day, the same. Then it happens again, and again. Soon, walking to the kitchen feels like climbing a hill. Your body is slowing down, and you tell yourself, it's normal. I'm just getting old. But what if that's not true? This isn't just about being tired. This is about a failing engine. Your heart. A healthy heart pushes oxygen-rich blood to every part of your body. But a weakened heart? It struggles. And when it struggles, your muscles, your brain, your organs, they all start gasping silently. And fatigue becomes your new normal. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't go away with rest, that no nap can fix. It steals your energy, your ability to think clearly, your joy. One slow heartbeat at a time. Take the story of Harold, 74. He used to walk his dog every morning. Then he started skipping days, too tired. Then he stopped walking altogether. One afternoon, he fell asleep in his chair and never woke up. Heart failure. It had been developing for years, but all he ever felt was a little tired. Don't normalize your decline. Don't let it blend into your routine. Ask yourself, am I more tired than I was 6 months ago? Do small activities leave me breathless? Does rest no longer recharge me? These questions are not about comfort. They are about survival. What's even more dangerous is that unusual fatigue is often the first symptom, and the most ignored, because it doesn't scream, it whispers, and by the time it's heard, it's often too late. Here's what you can do. Keep a fatigue journal. Track your energy levels daily. Monitor how long it takes you to recover after activity. Bring it up at every doctor's visit, even if you think it's nothing, because nothing can kill you, and your loved ones won't forgive themselves for not noticing. But the truth is, you're the one who has to notice first. Your heart doesn't give second chances, but it gives signs. This is one of them. 2. Swelling in the ankles, feet, or abdomen. The ignored red flag. It starts so subtly, you probably don't even notice. Your shoes feel a little tighter in the evening. Your socks leave deeper marks on your ankles. Your stomach feels bloated after meals, even if you ate less than usual. Maybe you joke about it. Oh, it's just water weight. Or, must be the heat today. But deep inside, something much more dangerous is happening. Your heart may be failing to do its job. As we age, especially after 65, our cardiovascular system becomes more fragile. The heart, once strong and efficient, can weaken gradually. When this happens, it can't pump blood as effectively. The blood starts to pool in your lower extremities due to gravity, and with it comes fluid. This condition is called edema, and it's not just a cosmetic issue. It's one of the clearest early signs of congestive heart failure. But here's the trap. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like a heart attack. It doesn't scream danger. It just swells. And because of that, most people ignore it. They adjust their footwear, they elevate their legs, they drink less water, thinking that's the cause. They treat the symptom, not the source. Take the story of Linda, 69, a retired teacher, full of life. She noticed some swelling in her feet but blamed it on standing too long. She waited 6 months before mentioning it to her doctor. By then, the fluid had reached her lungs. She was diagnosed with advanced heart failure, irreversible. Today, she lives on oxygen support, her independence gone. And the worst part? It could have been prevented. What should you look for? Swelling in your ankles or feet at the end of the day. Puffiness in your lower legs that worsens when sitting for long periods. Sudden weight gain over a few days due to fluid buildup. A bloated feeling in your abdomen, even without overeating. Trouble putting on rings or tightness in clothes, despite no diet changes. Here's a simple test. Press your thumb gently into your shin or ankle. Hold for 5 seconds. Release. Does it leave a dent that stays? That's called pitting edema, and it's a loud whisper from your heart. But don't panic. Act. Step 1. Track your swelling daily. Take photos if necessary. Step 2. Get a scale and weigh yourself every morning. If you're gaining 2 to 3 pounds in a day without changing your diet, it's likely fluid. Step 3. See your doctor. Demand a heart evaluation. Not next month, this week, because waiting could mean the difference between managing the problem and being managed by machines in a hospital bed. And ask yourself this: if you can catch the signs early and potentially add years of independence and dignity to your life, why wouldn't you act? This is not just about your legs or your belly. This is about your heart's cry for help. Imagine what it would mean for your children to see you lose your strength, not because of fate, but because of something preventable. Don't let swelling fool you into silence. Don't let comfort tricks, elevating your feet, looser shoes, hide a failing system. Because this is the second sign most people ignore. And for many, it's the last sign they ever get. Catch it now, while it's still whispering, before it starts screaming. Three. Shortness of breath. The feeling you're drowning on dry land. What would it feel like to drown? With no water around? Imagine lying in bed, eyes wide open, gasping for air. Not because you ran a marathon, not because you're sick with a cold, but because your own body has turned against you. That terrifying sensation of not getting enough oxygen is more common after 65 than most people think. And it's often a warning sign that the heart is no longer keeping up with the demands of your life. This isn't something you can afford to brush off. You walk across the room and need to pause. You climb a flight of stairs and feel your chest tighten. You try to lie flat in bed, but within minutes you're sitting back up just to breathe. At first, it feels like a minor inconvenience. I'm just out of shape, you might say. Or worse, this is just what getting old feels like. No, it's not. Shortness of breath, especially when it appears suddenly or worsens over time, is a serious red flag that your heart may be struggling to pump blood efficiently. Without strong circulation, fluid begins to accumulate in your lungs. That's why you feel like you're suffocating even when you're doing absolutely nothing. This is called pulmonary congestion, and it is one of the earliest and most critical signs of heart failure. Let's talk about James. He was 71, loved gardening, retired, a good life. But one morning his wife found him sleeping upright in a chair, not because he wanted to, but because lying down made him feel like he was being crushed. He'd been hiding it, embarrassed, convinced it was just his lungs. By the time he got help, his lungs were so filled with fluid that doctors had to perform an emergency procedure just to help him breathe. He survived, but lost half his mobility due to delayed intervention. This isn't rare. This happens every day. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize what they're feeling. They think it's aging. They think it's nothing. Let's make this clear. You should not feel winded from talking. You should not feel exhausted after basic activity. You should not sleep sitting up because lying down makes you suffocate. If any of these describe you, it's time to stop pretending. Time to listen to the one organ you can't afford to ignore. Here are key signs you must take seriously. Breathlessness during routine activity, cooking, dressing, walking across a room. Difficulty breathing while lying flat, needing multiple pillows or sleeping in a chair. Waking up gasping for air at night, known as paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. Persistent dry cough, especially if it gets worse when lying down. Unexplained fatigue combined with breathing trouble. Wheezing or noisy breathing without illness or allergy. These are not signs of aging. These are cries from your heart. What's happening inside your body? When the heart can't pump blood forward efficiently, it backs up, especially into the lungs. Fluid starts leaking into the air sacs. This is what causes the wet sensation, the shortness of breath, the panic in your chest. Your body is essentially suffocating in its own fluids. That's why it gets worse at night. That's why it gets worse when you lie flat. That's why no amount of deep breaths helps. Because this isn't about your lungs. It's your heart. And it's failing. What can you do right now? 1. Monitor your breathing daily. Take mental notes. When does it feel harder? After activity? At night? When lying down? 2. Start using a pillow test. Try lying flat for 15 minutes. Does it trigger coughing, discomfort, or breathlessness? That's a major red flag. 3. Keep a record of sleep quality. Do you wake up gasping, tossing and turning from pressure in your chest? 4. Use a pulse oximeter. Check your blood oxygen levels regularly, especially at rest and after exertion. A drop below 95% without known lung issues should not be ignored. 5. Tell your doctor everything. Don't leave anything out. The time you needed to rest after folding laundry, the time you couldn't finish a sentence without pausing for air. It matters. Now let's talk about what happens if you ignore this. It starts with fatigue. Then comes dizziness. Then you can't lie down. Then your legs swell. Then you collapse. And by then, the emergency room is the only place you're going. And even if they stabilize you, your independence may never return. You'll be told to avoid stairs. You'll be put on oxygen. You'll be handed medications, many of which could have been avoided if you'd acted earlier. Think about this. How many moments have you lost? Not because you're old, but because your heart was begging for help and you didn't listen. Think of your grandchildren. Do you want them to remember you as the strong grandparent who walked beside them? Or the one who could no longer leave their chair? Because your story isn't over yet. But your choices will determine what the final chapters look like. Don't let pride, denial, or fear of doctors steal your breath. Don't drown on dry land. When there's still time to breathe easy again, the choice is yours. But time isn't. 4. Irregular heartbeat. The rhythm of death. Your heart is supposed to be steady, reliable, silent. You don't notice it because it does its job. Beat after beat, day and night, without rest. But what if one day it skips? What if it flutters for no reason? What if it suddenly races, as if you were sprinting, while you're sitting in a chair? That sensation might feel strange, maybe even a little exciting. You shrug. Just a moment, you tell yourself. I was stressed, I stood up too fast. But what if that flicker was a warning? A warning that your heart's electrical system is malfunctioning, that your blood is no longer flowing correctly, that clots are forming, silently, waiting for their chance to strike. Because an irregular heartbeat, especially in older adults, often signals atrial fibrillation, a dangerous and progressive condition, one that increases your risk of stroke by 5 times. This isn't hypothetical. Karen was 68, lively, independent. She started noticing flutters in her chest once a week. She brushed it off. She didn't want to seem dramatic. Until one morning, she collapsed in the kitchen. Massive stroke. It took away her voice, her movement, her independence, and worst of all, she had felt it coming. But she said nothing. How can you tell if your heart's rhythm is betraying you? Do you feel fluttering in your chest, even at rest? Does your heartbeat become irregular without exercise? Do you sometimes feel faint, dizzy, or lightheaded, and can't explain why? Does your chest feel like it's pounding, even when you're calm? Don't normalize chaos inside your chest. Feel your pulse, every morning, every night. Is it steady or skipping? Too fast? Too slow? If it feels wrong, it probably is. What can you do? Get an EKG. Wear a 24-hour monitor. Demand clarity, not comfort, from your doctor. Because stroke doesn't knock. It kicks the door in, and you may not walk away from it. Listen to your heart, not just emotionally, but physically. Because the rhythm you ignore might be your last. 5. Persistent coughing or wheezing. Your lungs are warning you. When the heart is too weak to handle blood returning from the lungs, fluid can leak into the airways. This doesn't feel like a cold. It's a dry, stubborn cough that lingers for weeks. It often gets worse at night. You might hear wheezing, or feel like something is pressing on your chest. Doctors call it cardiac cough. You'll call it your final warning if you don't act in time. Don't wait for coughing to become choking. Seek help if you've had unexplained coughing for more than a week, especially if it worsens when lying down. The truth. No one tells you. After 65, every signal from your body matters. You are not just getting older. You're entering the most dangerous stage of heart health. And here's the brutal truth. No one is coming to save you. Not your children, not your spouse, not your doctor, unless you demand answers. If you ignore the signs, you may become a burden, a memory, a statistic. But if you act now, if you recognize these warnings and seek help, you may not only save your heart, you may save your dignity, your independence, your life. This is your only body. This is your only chance. Check your ankles. Check your breath. Check your heartbeat. Don't assume. Investigate. Act. Because a quiet heart might be quietly dying.